Hi, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making salted caramel chocolate chip blondies, and here is an example of the finished product. And they are delicious. And I wanted to share this recipe with you so that you can make it in the kitchen with your kids or for your kids or whatever. And if you're new to my channel, I created this channel as a homeschooling resource to help with some different organizational skills in your homeschool room, or curriculum choices, or unboxings of fun resources, or also just providing you with different tutorials on baking or cooking that you can do with your kids to create those intergenerational ties, which I think are extremely important and extremely lacking in the world today. That's where I first gained my love of baking and cooking, was from my mom and my grandma in the kitchen when I was young. And so I'm excited to be able to instill that in you today, hopefully. And so let's get in the kitchen and let's get started. I found a recipe for caramel blondies, and it was just for a 9x9 pan, which is the smaller square pans. And first of all, most of the time when I'm baking for a group of people. So what this dinky little thing isn't gonna do much. So I don't usually bake a lot in 9x9. So I'm like, I wanted something bigger. So I found this other recipe that was in a 9x13 pan, which is what we're gonna be using today, one of the bigger ones. And so I tried it out, but I didn't love the caramel filling. It used sweetened condensed milk with the caramel, melted caramel, and it wasn't my favorite. And I loved the caramel from the 9x9 one. So I took the cookie dough recipe from the 9x13, the caramel from the 9x9, and I put them together. And it's amazing. And I forgot to mention their salted caramel. I love the sweet and salty. It's one of my favorite things. So I'm excited to show you more about these blondies today. So let's go over the ingredients, and then I'll have a helper, or maybe multiple helpers in the kitchen. I struggle, like I want my kids to learn how to cook and bake and be with me in the kitchen, but I'm very meticulous and it stresses me out so bad to have kids in the kitchen with me. So if that's the case for you, don't worry, it is possible to have your kids in the kitchen. It's just a little bit frazzling, but hopefully we'll make it through with as many helpers as we end up having. So the basis for this recipe is just a chocolate chip cookie. We need a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks of butter. And then we have a half a cup of sugar, white sugar, and a cup of brown sugar. Sorry, I can't, these are the best dishes I have. And then we have 2 eggs. And then a teaspoon of vanilla, 2.5 cups of flour, and then a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. It's not quite a teaspoon. So then we need some sea salt, or you could use flake salt. This is just what I found at Walmart. So this is what I use to go on there. And then a bag of chocolate chips, or 2 cups. It's about 2 cups of chocolate chips. This is 11.5 ounce bag. And this is Ghirardelli chocolate, which I really like. I used to not use fancier chocolates and chocolate chips for baking, and these are milk chocolate, and I don't remember if the recipe calls for milk or semi-sweet, but for cookies I just always use milk chocolate now. I tried yourcupofcake.com is a blog where she bakes a lot with mixing cake mixes and adding ingredients in to make this really good, like half homemade, half store-bought cake mix. And she also does cookie recipes, so she has these chocolate chip cookies that are really good, and they have oatmeal in them and stuff, so they're really yummy. But she uses Guittard chocolate, so that was the first time I was like, okay, we'll try like a better chocolate chip. Walmart doesn't sell Guittard, at least none of them I have been to do, but you can get them at like Smith's or Kroger brand stores if you want to use Guittard. So I just buy Ghirardelli, and I like them too because they're bigger chips, and it is so worth it to buy this bag of chocolate chips. It makes it so much better, and they melt beautifully, so they're great for other things where you need melting chocolate that isn't gonna just burn in the microwave on you. This is good stuff. So then for our caramel filling, I like these little caramel bites, or whatever they are. I have used the square caramels, and those work great as well. They're just more work because you have to unwrap the caramels, and I can't find them at Walmart. Whereas these caramels, you find them in the baking section by the chocolate chips, and Walmart only sells the big like cube caramels, around fall time when they're doing caramel apple type stuff. And so otherwise you have to go to like a local grocery store or again, Smith's or something, and then you can find the cube caramels. So that makes my life easier that I can just get all these things at Walmart. So I buy these ones and they do melt quicker because they're smaller, whereas the cubes take a little bit longer. But the cubes, you can have your kids unwrap them if you want to, and it gives them something to do and a way to participate and hopefully not like eat them and lick them all, especially if you're giving them to someone. So the last ingredient we need is whipping cream. So I have it in a little bowl here. Sorry, I didn't have any more small clear ones, but so whipping cream because it's gonna go in the caramel when we melt it all together. Okay, so the last thing that you need is a 9x13 Pyrex pan. And I didn't used to line them with parchment, but I like things to look pretty, and it's a lot easier to pull them out and cut them in nice squares if you line it with parchment. So that's what I do, and I just have a big roll of parchment from like Sam's Club, or you can get them at Walmart, and I just put them in. I just cut it out. It's never that pretty. You can make it pretty if you want. So you just cut it, and I don't have it on these edges because it's kind of a pain to stick cookie dough down into the corners when you have parchment also down in the corners. So I just, if you can kind of see, it's just lined up on the sides. So then I put a lot of extra spray right here and right here, especially since we're baking with caramel and it gets really sticky and hard to get out if you don't have enough cooking spray in there. So this is our pan, and our oven is preheated to 350 degrees, which is a pretty standard baking temperature for cookies. So let's get a kid or multiple kids in the kitchen and let's get started and see how this goes. So we have a helper in the kitchen. This is Mazer. So far we have some butter and he's put the white sugar, and now he's gonna put the brown sugar in the bowl. Thank you, dude. Okay. Now we're gonna put it on our mixer. So we have our 2 eggs that Mazer cracked. Good job. And our vanilla.
What? Our vanilla?
That's vanilla. Yeah. Which one's the vanilla, Mazer? Yeah. Good job. You know what the container looks like, just not when it's poured out. Try to actually get it in the bowl. And then the baking soda. Okay.
That's every last one as you ordered.
So we took the paddle out and I pushed down the dough because we're gonna use half of it on the bottom of our pan and then we're gonna put half of it on the top. And it's okay if it's just slightly more than half on the bottom because that's usually where you want more so that your stuff isn't leaking out everywhere. Okay, so this is what I like to do because I like to see it visually and just make sure. So we're gonna take out this big scoop and we're gonna press it into that pan. So something that is important in the kitchen is time management skills. And so while we're pressing this down, we're going to start melting our caramel. So we have our bag of caramel here. I think it was about a 10-ounce bag or 11 ounce. And we're gonna put our 3 tablespoons of heavy cream in there.
And now?
Yep, put it in. And then we're gonna start out at 1 minute in the microwave. You can start initially longer just because nothing is hot or melted yet, but then after that, 1 minute, you just wanna do 30 seconds. So this is caramel after 1 minute, so you're gonna stir it around gently. Mazer, it's hot and we don't wanna get burned. And Liddy's having fun pressing the dough. Okay, we gotta take it all the way from the bottom to make sure everything is moved around so the bottom doesn't get burned. And I don't want to put a spoon on my counter. Guess what? I just set this cookie dough over here. And then my counter doesn't get caramel on it. It's amazing. Okay, so now we're just gonna put it back in for 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Oh, okay. And then we burn ourselves. Okay. This and flatten them in my hands.
I wonder what it tastes like.
We're not gonna taste it right now.
Olivia
Okay,
already
and then you
tasted
just stick it on the top and then cover up the caramel as much as you can. We're gonna put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 22 minutes. Okay, so we put the Blondies in the oven for 25 minutes. It was 25 minutes on the dot. I watched it for you guys to make sure. And I took them out and they're gonna be a little bit jiggly just because the caramel is in the middle and it's super hot. So let them cool for at least an hour or two before you try to sneak a piece. Baking and doing stuff in the kitchen by yourself and with kids is no joke. There are going to be accidents, there's going to be failures, there's going to be things that happen. But the important thing is you keep trying. That's the only reason I've been able to become pretty good at baking, is because you just keep trying and you learn what works and you learn what doesn't. And so I think that this is a great thing to be able to do with your kids and to help them instill some baking skills with them, but also just to be able to work with you and to see what you love to do. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you would like more videos like this or other homeschooling resources that I can give you, please comment below on things that you're interested in seeing from me. And I'm gonna go enjoy my cookie.